Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Waterloo Region EVA, video series for 2021. Here we are in February. With us, as always, we have Mr. Eric Stevens joining us. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, Mark. How you doing?
Excellent, excellent. Thanks for participating. Also with us, Mr. Ian Graham joins us from an undisclosed location in Kitchener as well. How are you today, sir?
Happy to see the sun lately. A lot happier with the sun. The snow, get rid of it. I want to see my EV range going up again.
It's always great to see the sun. A couple blue sky days really chase away the blues for sure. But thanks for joining us here tonight. Here we are at the end of February, and we thought we would grab some EV news and share it with WREVA members. So sit back, enjoy, and let's get to the details, Ian.
All right. So here we are with WREVA electrifying news. The first item of interest we have is a YouTube video, which I just saw. It just came out, I think, recently, and it does a comparison of basically when you hear that argument that, oh, well, your EV isn't as clean as you think because it's powered by a coal plant. Or, you know, we've even seen like guys say, oh, there's a diesel generator running the charger and stuff like that. Anyways, it's the gentleman from Fully Charged who is narrating it. And it is, to me, one of the best videos for comparison wise, because he gets into the details of what it takes to get gas, out of the ground, which is like 5,000 plus feet below, the electricity just to run the pump to get the gas out of the ground, and how many thousands of EVs that could actually power. And he goes into, of course, then the oil refineries and the oil rigs in the ocean running off of diesel generators. Then talks about the refining of oil. It's really well done. And of course, he compares it back to an electric vehicle being charged if it was charged by a coal plant. And then, of course, he brings up the fact that, you know, we're getting a lot into renewable energy, and the fact that the grid is just becoming cleaner, of course, because of the renewable. It's a great video. We'll put the YouTube link, I think, in the description of this, tonight's video. And I really encourage people to watch it because, it really, I think, settles a lot of the argument of the gas versus EV, where we charge it, really shows the pollution aspect of things too.
Yeah,
Absolutely. How many times have we been asked as EV owners as to how long the tailpipe actually is, or how long the plug actually is? Because there's many times that's been brought up when we've done get-togethers and discussed with the public about not really knowing where the power comes from, and some misconceptions are certainly cleared away in this nice video.
Yeah, mm-hmm. A lot of people don't like to see how the sausages are made, so to speak, and how much energy and how much resources it actually takes to get gasoline to a station, their local station. So it's definitely a good educational series for people to see and understand.
Yeah. He makes a good point too about with renewable energy wise. And of course, Eric, you and I, we have solar on our properties, but he says that basically solar is cheaper now than the grid. In discussions with you as well, I just mentioned Canadian Solar has, 450 watt bifacial panels for 73 cents a watt now. Yeah. And in comparison, 10 years ago, when I put my 210 watt panel up on the, on my place, it was $800 for a panel. And, and he's right. It's like the price of solar has really come down. And it's a lot more powerful.
Ian, what would the price of the 73-cent one be in a panel price?
I think it was my math's not the greatest right now, but it was under $400.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, it's been a long day. Yeah, it's under $400 for a 450 watt panel, and also too, this is not a panel that's the sunlight's hitting just the front. It's bifacial. You're getting another 5 to 20% on the back as well. So very efficient panels, and you're talking about they're getting up into 21, 22% or more efficiencies as well. So it's we are at a point, a real tipping point with our energy, and especially when it comes to renewables as well.
Yeah, being able to produce electricity closer to where it's being used in a microgeneration sense makes a lot of sense. It's a very efficient way to do it.
Yes, exactly. It's interesting when you talk about producing close to where you use it. We're seeing it a lot more with northern communities as well. Makes a lot more sense for them in northern communities to have their own sort of microgrid rather than shipping up diesel fuel for their generators. And I think too, as the price of batteries, of course, keep coming down, and then we have the storage aspect. Again, everything is just changing dramatically on this. So, but I highly encourage everyone to watch this video, and it's great for those guys who want to argue with you about where we get our charging power from. So it's quite interesting. All right. So here's another interesting article. Just came out today, actually, and it was on the CBC News last night as well. But the entire auto industry is dealing with a global shortage of microchips, and it's not just the auto industry; it's everyone, even Sony with their PlayStation. Their new PlayStation is having a lot of problems to get the chips.
Yeah, even my company and our temperature controllers are affected right now. Lead times are increasing, and material shortages are happening, and we're seeing it.
What has been the catalyst of this? Why has this become an issue nationally within all these different sectors?
It's a combination of factors that are happening right now. So earlier COVID shutdowns in a lot of facilities, a lot of places in the world where they're manufacturing the silicone for these, sometimes we're down for a month or two, and in some cases those supply chains are starting to ripple through. So you're seeing a ripple through effect now as a result of some of these shutdowns. And that on top of that, there's actually been record high consumption. More people have been buying computers because of the shutdown and the pandemic. Car sales are actually near record levels right now. So car sales are actually very high. And just a combination of all those factors right now are so there's high demand, limited and constrained supply, and it's sort of created this situation right now.
It's great that we have high car sales. Also, we can sit at home and be locked up and not go anywhere in our cars. That's my new car in the driveway. Wish I could drive it.
The way I've had it explained to me from some people in the industry is that they can't fly somewhere for their usual vacation this year, so they're like, hey, well, might as well buy a new car and maybe we can go to a local park now and go drive to the local park or drive to the local thing now. So a lot of people are now traveling locally instead of going international because, well, they're forced to.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's and also too, besides cars, I also know just for a fact that like spring's coming up, and boat sales are going through as well, like quite a catalyst of sales, not only new but like used as well. And it's people are anxious to do something, like you say, Eric, locally. And it's interesting about the car sales. That's actually something I wouldn't have expected, just because we are so much more in a lockdown. But I'm sure people are looking at going like, when we get out, we want to drive and check out what's going on. So
exactly.
Yeah. So speaking of driving, if you're going to get a new car, you want to get an electric, because our EV charging in Canada with the pandemic has grown by 22%. Mark, tell me a little bit about this.
There's been a huge jump in the past year that we've all been living with COVID. that has not slowed down the charging infrastructure. In fact, it looks like it's sped up. A lot of holes has been plugged with a lot of different manufacturers and operators of public charging across the country. So in this article, it outlines that the information comes from Natural Resources Canada, and it shows that there were 13,230 EV chargers at over 6,000 public stations across the country. And that amount is 15% higher than what it was reported last March. So just in under a year, there's been a 15% bump in number of chargers at charging stations. And significantly out of that number, over 2,200 of those public chargers are DC fast chargers, which of course are capable of delivering the quick charge for people that are traveling. And that number alone, just the DC fast chargers, has risen by over 400 since March. That is a 22% increase over the past year DC charger amount. So it's good to see that we're not just filling up with level 2 chargers for destination charging, but we're also getting a good amount of DC chargers for that the traveling public to be able to take advantage of. So that is very interesting. The article also breaks down in detail each network. I'm not going to go through all the details, but you can look through what has happened in each network, such as Tesla's network, Flow, ChargePoint, Petro-Canada, Electrify Canada, and Greenlots. Even our friends over at Switch Energy have some information on their expansion that has happened. And Provincial and across the country, IV networks and more, all listed here for you to go into the details. And again, for all these stories, we'll be taking a link and putting it inside the YouTube notes section, so you'll have quick access to link on it and go into all these details if you wish to.
Yeah, I'm looking at the map and I find it curious, like North Quebec and the Yukon, Northwest Territories. Like, I'm taking a guess, like, that would be like Yellowknife. But Quebec, like that northern part up there, like that's interesting. What do you know roughly what area we're looking at?
Well, that the far north is actually the corner of Labrador.
Oh, it's Labrador there, yeah.
So
it seems
that
like
would be there. Yeah. So that that looks like an individual city or town in that particular dot. But it is interesting, the coverage all the way up the Gas Bay Peninsula, right along both sides of the St. Lawrence, filled out rather nicely.
Yeah, yeah. And, I think the Yukon and Northwest Territories, it's nice to see that they're getting that much more involved with the charging as well, because I'm sure that they're looking at it as potential with tourism too. So if you have the networks to those like Yellowknife, places like that, it's going to help with bringing more people up for tourism wise as well.
Yeah, now that of course the Trans-Canada Highway has been covered a few times with a few different networks, I can see that we will start working on those secondary routes, and heading north is certainly a path that is wide open for people to drive on. So I could definitely see that these different charging groups are going to be working on those secondary roads that are heading north, and start to fill in a little bit more of areas that we can get to. I really enjoy seeing that up the BC coast. Hasn't hugged the coast, but the interior road up the middle of BC and then back over to the coast, I can definitely see that they'll do some sort of a, sea to sky highway above that, pushing it and connecting the two there. So looks really good.
Yeah, definitely big network improvements right now, and it's just a matter of plugging a few gaps here and there. And as EV adoption grows, then obviously there'll be a growth in where the demand is. So
Yeah, and I didn't put this in the article, but there was something that was just released today, this afternoon. I noticed that there's a bit of a desert spot for us here in Southern Ontario, down between London and Windsor. And there was a story about some of the networks getting involved and putting something in Chatham-Kent area along the 401. So that'll be a big plus for travelers down Detroit way.
Especially my family lives in the Chatham-Kent area. So,
yeah, that's right up your alley. Absolutely.
So I've lived that for the last 7 or 8 years, but
nice. Well, that's awesome. That's great to see. All right, Eric, we have a new story for yourself here.
Yes. So my theme for the night basically is going to be commercial electrification, basically. And this is where it makes, there's such a huge amount of sense in this type of industry. Here, total cost of ownership is everything when you start talking commercial delivery fleets. And obviously with the pandemic that's been going on, there's been a massive surge in online sales and things like that now as well too. So everyone's now talking about the last mile delivery and how to do that more efficiently and better and things like that now too. So we have here a logistics company, the Pridegroup. It's based out of Mississauga. They've already had an order for 150 Tesla semis, and now they're getting more involved into the last mile logistics and last mile delivery. And now they've placed an order for 6,300 workhorse electric vans, basically for the company. So this will be a big boon for delivery fleets with the big surge in online shopping. This will be a way of keeping those emissions low and doing things efficiently and cost effectively. And it's great to see.
Is this company, Eric, like 6,300 would not be for Mississauga, Toronto area? Like you're talking across Canada, right? That they would be distributing?
Yeah, this company actually has locations all over North America. Actually, they have distribution hubs in Ontario, out in Alberta. They have distribution hubs in the U.S. as well too. So they have they actually have 10 different markets right now. They have places in California, Toledo, Milton, Edmonton, Calgary. So they're all over North America.
Wow.
So this would be certainly a bonus for others that are thinking about this, that you now have a real world example of a deliverer that would be not only going between distribution points with the semis, but also have that local delivery fleet that would travel within a region. And some of the data that they're going to collect certainly will be invaluable for others as they chart a path to do this type of thing as well.
Yep, absolutely.
How much range would you say one of these trucks get?
Well, right now the order that they have, these ones have about 100 miles, 160 kilometers on a charge.
Okay. And they'll probably have their DC fast charge, like level 2 at least within their shops and stuff. So that 160 kilometers during a day would be sufficient, probably?
I would imagine so. I imagine they've done the research to say, based on where their distribution hubs and where their customers are, I guess that probably covers off most of what they're looking for.
Yeah. And this is going to be interesting too, because with the pandemic, of course, so many people shopped online, and Amazon and all their deliveries have gone, through the roof. And this is great because, it's just one more aspect of electrification that I think is extremely important, being that we are shopping online so much. I think a lot of people will like the fact that, hey, we're not having all these other, vehicles that are, especially within a city area, polluting. Having this with the electric is, I think you're going to really enjoy having that instead.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And the other thing to mention is that the fleet ownership is probably one of the easiest calls to move to electrification, because the fleet owners, it's all about dollars and cents. They know exactly how far those vehicles travel. They know what they spend on maintenance on those vehicles currently and in a gasoline configuration. and they're comparing dollars to specifics all the time. And when it gets to a point where you've got the larger battery packs that have now been proven in smaller vehicles with smaller packs, this is going to be very easy to lean upon to extrapolate as to how many savings they'll be able to add up by going to electric. Because again, these guys, it's all about the accounting. And if they can find something that's going to knock 5, 10, 15, 20% off of the maintenance and cost of fueling, it's going to be an easy transition for these guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Great. All right. This is exciting to see. So Nova Scotia now is getting into rebates for electric cars, home energy, and it's nice to see, like, not only new vehicles but even used vehicles. So we got a rebate of $3,000 per new vehicle, $2,000 for used vehicles, and then I also like this $500 for e-bikes. In fact, here in the city of Kitchener, they're really going gung-ho with the bike lanes. The street in front of me is now going to be converted from 2 lanes to 1 lane with a bike lane. And I was asking them, I was like, well, are you guys going to do e-bikes as well? Like, give some incentive that way. They said that's more of a provincial thing. So, but these rebates are on top of the $5,000 federal rebate. So, you know, to get $8,000 for a new vehicle, now we're back into, you know, what Quebec and BC are doing. And I really hope that Ontario, that they reevaluate getting rid of the $14,000 rebate we had, which was very generous. And, you know, it'd be nice just even to see like a $3,000 rebate on top of the $5,000 federal. And then in terms of the energy for the home, that's next month that they're going to be announcing that. And they want to make sure, I like this, that 80% of the province's energy comes from renewable sources by 2030. And I think they're going to do it. There was something also in the news I just saw about tidal power in the Bay of Fundy. And they, you know, are experimenting more with that. I know the University of Waterloo at one point had worked with putting tidal power in with Bay of Fundy, and they watched as the tidal power basically washed away their whole setup. and so hopefully the new one, whatever they put in, it's from what I understand, it's working actually a lot better. But it shows the amount of power just from tidal. But Nova Scotia, I think, has got a huge opportunity with this, and it's exciting to see. I'm really happy for them. And in terms of used vehicles, there is a company out in Nova Scotia that is promoting used vehicles, so I'm sure they're really happy to see that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best parts of this is adding that used component, because we all can't afford a new vehicle, and many cannot. So being able to give a hefty rebate for a used vehicle with the depreciation already on it is going to open up the door for a number of people to get involved with an EV.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in a province like Newfoundland, where the average incomes tend to be a bit lower than many other places in Canada. So it'll definitely open the doors to a lot of people there to affordable options.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, the $500 for e-bikes, I'm interested too in seeing if there's going to be particular e-bikes that they're going to recommend that they can apply that, you know, because there are so many e-bikes now. You know, all the time I'm seeing on the web, like, oh, here's this company and they're doing an e-bike now. And, you know, there's a lot of choices out there. That's for sure.
Absolutely, there is. Yeah, and more coming.
Yeah. So, all right, Eric, back to trucks again.
Yes, back to my commercial vehicle fleet theme for this video. But yeah, General Motors has actually started a new brand. The new brand is called Brightdrop, and it's a whole logistics system. So it's a software system. They're launching a new pallet called the EP1, which can actually be ordered right now. The EP1 is an assisted pallet that people can push, and it basically helps guide the cart. So it senses when somebody's pushing it, and when you're pushing it, then it'll assist as well too. So now you can have individual people it takes stress off of them, and they're actually able to handle more packages easier, and heavier weight packages easier. And they've tied all this into now this new vehicle as well too, which is on GM's new BV1 platform, which is using their new Ultium battery system. And basically, they're going to be they've announced that they're going to be assembling this van in the Cami plant in Ingersoll, Ontario. And they're going to start initial production for this is going to be this fall, actually, in 2021. To be limited production initially, because the Cami plant in Ingersoll is going to continue building the Equinox through 2022. So they're going to be initially doing sort of low volume production in the corner of the plant for the next year and a bit. But then once the Equinox is done production, they're going to switch over to much higher volume production. And by then GM will have its battery plant in Ohio up and hopefully running full steam as well too. And we'll be able to crank out tons of batteries and tons of vehicles to meet demands for these. And the Brightdrop EV600 is pretty interesting. The 600 stands for 600 cubic feet of cargo space, and it has a driving range of 400 kilometers.
Wow.
So it's an impressive vehicle, and they've already been doing some pilot production runs with FedEx. So they already have a deal with FedEx for this, and they've been moving full steam ahead forward on this.
So I can live in luxury in a van down by the river that has 400 kilometers. That's awesome.
That's tempting. I hope they sell this thing to regular people as well too, for camper conversions or something.
I was just thinking all the sprinter vans. Like, I don't know about you guys. I watched some of those van conversions, and man, there's some really cool stuff that's been done. And when I was going to ask you, like, how many kilometers does this thing go? Is it 160 again, like the other one? But when you said 400, I'm like, I'm sold. Like, that's awesome.
Ian's going down to Ingersoll to put his deposit in tonight.
Yeah. I just want to see some solar panels on there as well.
You just got to sneak in the lot at night and try to take one,
That's right. That's right.
And,
that's kind of impressive with the assisted carriages that fit into the vehicle. And they were talking about different types of ways that these carriages are going to roll out of the van. There's a number of different artist conceptions about how it's either going out the back or possibly a side load system. And as Eric said, it allows the driver not to have to brute force this carriage. It's going to be electrically assisted and allow it to be easier moved around, especially on hills or going over bumps or into buildings. That'll be a big plus to have a electric assisted cart.
Yeah, FedEx has already done a pilot project with the EP1s in some of their facilities, and they said they saw up to a 25% productivity improvement per employee for these assisted carts. So they were pretty impressed by it.
Amazing. And is there a rough idea, I don't know if they give prices at all, because being it's more commercial use, but have they said roughly what something like this would cost?
They haven't given pricing yet. Officially, they already have some orders with some partner companies, but officially it doesn't actually go on a retail sale until next year, to early Q1 2022. Even though they're going to start deliveries later this year for some partners that are already lined up for the vehicle.
Right. So, very cool. And like you said, if I just want to sneak over and just take one of these, the best part is it's electric. It's silent when I leave. They won't know. Won't be starting on some big diesel engine. It's like, what's that?
Unfortunately, we just incriminated you on YouTube. So beware.
There's a guy in a lot that's counting them all. He's like, wait, what's missing? I know who's got that. All right. This is really cool. This is from a gentleman, Mark, you and I both know well. And let's tell us a little bit more about this story.
Yeah, this is Cyril Wheeler. He is the owner of Wheeler Automotive, based in Innerkip, Ontario. And Cyril, for those who don't know, used to be one of the head technicians over at Tesla in Kitchener and certainly Ontario. He was a mobile technician as well as a manager, and so he knows the Tesla system pretty well. And Cyril, of course, has been since he's left Tesla. He is now running his own business where he does work on cars, not just electrics, but everything. And Cyril had been watching the police service space, where in the U.S. we've seen a number of police departments have bought Model 3s to replace their Dodge Chargers, for example, to run an electric patrol car. And Cyril, of course, was interested in how they were doing it, and really thought that it was the numbers made sense for you to run an EV here in Ontario as opposed to a gasoline cruiser. And so he decided that he was going to get involved in putting together a beta test of Model 3 up here in Canada that he would be able to show different police departments and offer the service of converting a Model 3 or a Model Y that they would purchase, and he would be able to put in the light package, the sound system for the police horns and sirens, as well as a modified center console to be able to house the police computers, the printer, the police band radio system, all of it. For a normal patrol car, what would get retrofitted into a gasoline car, he's been able to figure out how these options would be powered and operate inside a Model 3 or Model Y. So he just released this information last week that he is now going out to, he's already had some visits with some local police departments in southwestern Ontario. And now he's expanding his reach and talking to other groups outside of his region and starting to look at different police departments across Canada. So we thought we would share this information for those who have interest or have connections to maybe a police department. And the YouTube video that is going to be linked here that you'll be able to click again in the show notes is one that was put together by Dax, who went out to the Cyril's garage and did some filming. So you'll be able to get a really good look at the vehicle, the inside, the out, the sounds and light show that it can perform.
Very cool. I watched the video, and it's neat to see the lights going and everything, and of course being again silent. And just the lights going, no siren, of course, in this case. But it's really neat to see. I think Cyril's onto something good that way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what police force steps up first in Canada. There's a number of them that are looking at the option. This, of course, will allow people not just to have to think about it in their head, but a real live model will certainly be able to help others move beyond the point of thinking about it and maybe getting to the point of ordering.
Yeah, and hopefully in the future going forward, a lot of the manufacturers going forward start looking to offer police packages on some of their electric options as well too, as they become more available. That would be a huge boon to I think a lot of police fleets, again, because a lot of them also look at total cost of ownership there as well too, and it's a no-brainer for a lot of applications.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So just down the road from us here in Kitchener, in the city of Oakville, they just put in a whole bunch of chargers along one of their main roads, and they basically spent 2 years and $20 million revitalizing their main street. There's 16 level 2 chargers from ChargePoint that we got, 2 designated parking spots per station. And this was interesting. I like this. In 2019, the Ministry of Transport data showed a total of over 1,800 battery electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles registered in that community. So, and that's more than double the amount in 2017. So again, when you look at that, as we call the S curve of electric vehicle adoption, it's no longer just sort of gradual. It's really starting to go up on an incline. The other cool thing with Oakville, of course, is last summer they're going to purchase 57 electric buses, and they're going to get those for 2026. So again, here's a city that's really getting on top of things. And of course, they announced with Ford also in Oakville going towards electrification. So it's the future is definitely electric down in that area.
Yeah, definitely. And what was nice to see is when they worked this plan for the revitalization of Main Street, that they realized that we are going electric. It's something that everybody can start to see as plain as their nose and their face. That this is not a this is not I guess a flavor of the month. This is something that is definitely moving forward, and people are getting involved with it. And to be able to create charging spots on the street in front of the different businesses that are operating on Main Street, that's a win for the business community, and it's a win for people with electric vehicles, because when they start going on these trips that we were speaking about in another subject earlier, an EV owner that's the first thing they're looking for is when I go, 60, 100 kilometers down the road, where can I top up while I'm doing my shopping? And being able to park just on Main Street and plug in and go about your business and buy some local items it's a win for everybody.
Yeah, especially in a place like Oakville too. A lot of the people here now live in a much more densely populated region, where you have a higher percentage of the population who might not have easy access to charging where they live. And so having publicly accessible charging in the markets and the stores and like that also helps to contribute to make EV more accessible in these types of environments as well too.
Mm-hmm. I think, the city of Waterloo, as you guys know, along King Street, they installed all these light fixtures that are LED, and they do different colors, and they got kind of like a little bit of almost like a palm tree look. I think that they could have integrated charging at those light fixtures in the city of Waterloo as well. That would have been interesting if you put the two together. But like you say, like it does bring a lot for local business, and people coming to shop and having that ability to charge up. And I'm sure that it's going to be a charge, like a fee to plug in. But again, I'm sure it'll be reasonable as well. The ChargePoint in Uptown Waterloo, a few different spots, has not been all that expensive actually.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense because especially those that are doing that kind of tourism thing where they're going to Oakville specifically to peruse the main street and the businesses on it. It doesn't matter if there's a fee to charge because you expect to pay something for your propulsion in your vehicle, whether it's gasoline or it's electric. So it's just a good system that would make sense to anybody that is doing that kind of local or regional travel tourism.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So now we got our last slide for the night, and I left this for the last slide because after reading this, again, like I mentioned about the S curve and of electric vehicle adoption, this again is just more proof in the pudding of where we're going for the future, and people's their perception of electric vehicles is starting to change. So there's a survey of 2,000 Canadians, and they said 68% will be purchasing an electric vehicle next. And the ones I think who are doubtful are still I think they maybe still have some of the misconceptions on things, but I think some of them also are kind of like the sit back and wait. Yeah, hey, I see more electric vehicles on the road and everything, but I'm still not sure it's for me. And also, too, the another interesting area where people might be a little hesitant about purchasing an electric vehicle as well is downtown Kitchener, for example. As of right now, we've got a lot of condominiums being built. And for people who live in the condominiums and know that they may not have the ability to charge as easily when they pull into their spot, may still stick with a gasoline vehicle. That may be part of it as well. But in general, it was an interesting survey, and just to kind of highlight, 70% of Canadians looking for a tax or incentive to buy an EV. I think we all are. 77% want an EV to run for a maximum or minimum, of 400 kilometers on a full battery. The majority of electric vehicles that I see are coming out now, I think are starting more and more to be that 300-400 kilometer range. And that's just going to be a norm, I think, pretty soon. 2/3 concerned about reliability in cold weather. Again, with the new battery technology that's happening, with Tesla's new batteries, GM with their new system, and I think all the companies in general, they're finding ways to get much more reliable in cold weather, especially with dry cell technology. So that's, again, not going to be much of a concern anymore. And then, of course, there's half a worry that we would blow up the electrical grid. And it could be too expensive to operate given electricity prices. As of yesterday, I think it was, or yesterday or Tuesday, Ontario's back to time per use. So, we want to charge at nighttime. It's a lot cheaper then. But in terms of blowing up the electrical grid, as all of us know, basically level 2 charging is kind of like running a stove at night. So when we're all having dinner at 6 o'clock and using our stoves, the grid doesn't go down. So I don't think we have so much to worry that way. But it's great to see that more Canadians are starting to really look forward to getting into an electric vehicle.
Yeah, and I think what some of the people that don't understand that electrical grid taxation thing is that the vast majority of people with EVs will follow that time of day chart, and they will charge their vehicles starting after 7 p.m. And of course the grid in Ontario after 7 p.m. just has less and less demand every hour that goes by, all the way until the waking morning hours. Yeah. So the slope of consumption of electricity just drops off the map after 7 p.m. and doesn't start to reestablish itself until we get into the 7 a.m. Time frame. So you've got a good 12 hours where really there's no demand issues at all at any point of the year, summer or winter, on the electricity grid, because of course the grid has to be able to hold when it's taxed the most. So all the different fundamentals, the pieces of the grid that are in place are designed to handle that maximum demand. And when there is no maximum demand, it's just idling. It's not even breaking a sweat. So having the ability to maybe offshoot some demand through the evening is going to be a plus for the grid anyways, because it's going to kind of start to even out the trend of the drop off, bring it up a little bit, and that'll be some more money for Ontario Hydro and others that are supplying electricity. So it's only a win for the electricity utilities.
Here in Ontario, because over half of our power is generated through nuclear right now. Those power plants don't ramp up and ramp down very easily, and they're often sized to meet, as you said, the peak demand. So at night, oftentimes we're generating excess power, and we're actually looking for ways to try to get rid of this extra power. Yep. And hey, we've got electric cars here. It's a perfect opportunity. You give people good off-peak rates and encourage them to charge. Say, hey, we'll charge your electric cars cheap at night if you can get rid of this excess power, and it's a match made in heaven. So
yeah, absolutely. So we as a province that spend money on this electrical grid will be able to put some of that money back inside the taxpayers' electronic tanks, as it would be.
Yeah. And one other thing. Oh, yeah. One other thing I've been seeing as well too is with electric buses. I saw a company in the U.S. actually. They're looking to purchase a huge number of electric school buses, and one of the applications they're looking at doing is using their buses for grid-tied storage, because school buses are only used for a short period of time in the morning and a short period of time in the evening or in the late afternoon, and so the rest of the time they're largely sitting idle and plugged in. So what happens is, under those circumstances, even with higher amounts of renewables being used now as well too, these batteries can be used to actually smooth out the grid throughout the day and stuff as well too. So there's huge potential for battery electric vehicles to even improve the grid overall too.
Yeah. One point on here that 50% was saying lack of charging infrastructure. And to that, I say, look at this slide again. Canada's EV charging network, 22% growth during the pandemic. It's only going to keep getting better, you know. So that part of it, they don't have to worry so much. Of course, it always comes up with high cost. And, you know, it's that's another argument, of course, you know, oh, it's, you know, X amount, $10,000 more. But, you know, as the three of us all know, the cost to charge an electric vehicle is peanuts compared to a gas. And of course, the maintenance aspect and everything else. And so, you know, we get a you know, cost of ownership break-even point where the gas really actually starts draining your wallet a lot more than the electric vehicle, even after we've paid more for the electric vehicle up front. But of course, I think that's going to change over the next few years as well with the cost of things. So I think we got some companies that are holding some cards close to their chests that they know they're going to be able to bring these costs down and start offering electric vehicles at par with gasoline. That's going to happen, I think, in the next couple of years, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a number of companies out there that are looking to offer much more affordable EV options. You do mention, yeah, from a total cost of ownership standpoint in Canada, for a number of people, EVs are almost on par with gas engines for a lot of people. Though one of the challenges that do exist today is that the median household income for somebody, or not medium household, but the median individual income for the average Canadian is about $40,000 a year. And one of the challenges they do face today is when they go in to try to get a car loan for a more expensive vehicle, it's $10,000 more, that they often can't get that. So a lot of times, even though the TCO works out that an EV is just as cheap as a gas car, it still presents a challenge and a barrier to entry for some of these people. But that barrier to entry will disappear in the next 2 or 3 years. And as EVs become cheaper, and because they'll be on par from a cost standpoint for gas vehicles, plus the added benefit of cheaper maintenance and fueling costs, will just improve the situation immensely.
Mm-hmm. That's
Very
for
good.
sure. Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
with that, that's a good roundup of the news that we were able to collect. We will see if we can do another one of these videos in about a month or so, and keep everyone out there informed. I hope everyone out there is safe and as happy as you can be in the middle of the pandemic. But I was telling the guys earlier that at least we can see a light at the end of the tunnel, and we're fairly confident it's not a train. So things are looking good. So we just got to stay in this together a little bit longer, and I think we'll be out of the woods once these vaccines start to roll out in mass. That's what we're all hoping for, and hopefully that will be happening shortly. So any shout outs for you, Ian? What have you been up to? What do you any plans this coming spring besides working on your boat?
Yeah, I like I was mentioning to you guys earlier, I'm slowly working away on the pontoon boat with the I got the panels, solar panels for the canopy figured out. Got the extruded aluminum figured out for mounting the canopy. Pretty sure which boat motor I'm going with. It's a 20 horsepower a boat motor from a company called Elco in the U.S. They've actually have been doing electric boat motors for over 100 years. So shout out to them and to Brandon, actually, for who's been helping me with getting this figured out. And cross fingers that, by May, I'll be out on the water with the pontoon boat, having a bit of a barbecue and some fishing.
We'll definitely have to get a video of that, for sure.
Yes.
Eric, any shout-outs at the end of the show?
Well, I one project actually I've got working on, I'm going to be doing this summer as well too, is I'm building a heated solar sort of off-grid picnic table. Actually, I've got a new patio going in this summer, and with a fire pit and stuff like that. So I want to have a nice fire in the evening, but I can have the picnic table sort of heated, because that's what my company does, is heating products. And then I'm going to embed a solar panel into the top of the picnic table so it can actually charge a battery. I've already got a battery module from a BMW Active E electric car and a power inverter, and I've already got the solar panel. I just need to start assembling it and putting it together for the summer. And it'll actually be able to run power tools and stuff off the picnic table as well too, in the backyard if I need to. But it'll be sort of like a little utility tool that I'm tinkering with in the backyard once we get our new patio. We have a new patio that's supposed to be going in the spring. So I'll look forward to being able to spend some time out in the summer, hopefully with some people over if things get better. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
Very good. So that sounds like a Black & Decker workbench on steroids.
Yeah.
Very good.
Well, have some LEDs on it? Are you going to have some LEDs on the picnic table as well? I mean, at nighttime with the fire going and...
Yeah, I might I'm thinking of putting some lighting in it, yeah.
You could maybe 3D print the actual picnic table, make it so it's clear, and the LEDs are inside the picnic table, so they're like bars that light up.
Yeah.
It's... and I don't know if you can have something to keep your drinks cool with...
I could. There might be a way to do that, actually. Yeah. Actually, now that you think that,
you got to go all out, right? You can't just have to do this. You got to go all out.
That's actually a good idea. Actually, there's those little plates that you can put on that you apply a voltage to them, and then one side gets hot and the other side gets cold. I could probably use that as well too to keep the drinks cold. So,
and
the
remember,
project just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah. And I do have the solar oven that does the solar hot dog, so you could put that on the side as well.
Oh, there we go. You have a whole solar-powered picnic going.
And you know what? If it's on a circular platter and it could follow the sun, so your oven's always hot as it goes along, hey, this is $1 million idea we're giving away.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Better sit back and write down some of these ideas, guys. Well, thank you very much, Ian and Eric, for joining us tonight and spreading the EV news around. If you're watching this video and haven't already, please give us a thumbs up. That helps us out. Press the subscribe button and you'll be notified next time we put a video up. You'll be first to know as soon as that video becomes live on YouTube. And that also helps us as well. So help out WREVA by clicking both of those, thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And with that, we will bid you a good night, a good evening, a good morning, whenever you're watching this video. And we will see you again in about a month. So thanks very much for watching and enjoy the rest of your day or evening. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.